The average life expectancy in the United States is over 42 million minutes. And each one of those minutes represents an impression, a memory, a legacy. But unfortunately, our minutes will run out. And the story of our lives is left only in the hearts and minds of the people we leave behind. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could leave a legacy that fosters happiness, builds strong bonds, and produces resilience? And research shows time and time again that the greatest predictor of happiness is not monetary wealth, but the quality of our relationships. Therefore, one of the best gifts we can give are strong, enduring relationships that last, even after we're gone. So how are we as a country doing with this? Well, unfortunately, not so well. Over half of Americans report conflict surrounding the death of a loved one. And that conflict collides with grief and takes an already sad situation and makes it worse. Sometimes for a lifetime. Imagine your family after your passing. They're overwhelmed, caught up in grief. And then they might even argue over whether you died in hospice or whether you died in a hospital. And then they have to look through your things, your belongings, to find your will and all the other important papers that are necessary to manage your estate. But they can't find them. Or worse yet, they discover no will was ever written. What follows is a descent into a legal and financial maze that encourages confusion and conflict. How many families have fallen into arguments and conflict and the chaos and bitterness because their loved one just simply didn't prepare? This does not have to happen. It's totally preventable. We need to take the responsibility to clean up our mess and prepare for the future. So how do we do that? Well, the good news is there are only 4 steps. The bad news is you need to start all 4 of them at the same time, now. Step number 1, get your affairs in order. Get your will drawn up. Get your health care directive in place and put together your financial documents, your passwords, and all those important papers into one binder. One place where your family can find it. And then it's always a good idea to follow up with a digital backup. Step number 2, build your legacy. There are a number of legacies that you can build, like laughter, hard work, education. There are thousands of them. But the most important legacy is love. Tell your family you love them. Tell them frequently. The most famous love letter of all time was written by St. Valentine to be delivered after he died. And look at the impact that made. Write your family a love letter, a Valentine, and then tuck it away in that binder you just prepared to be looked at and delivered after you die. I imagine my family, after my death, will sit down at the table, open up the binder, and think, oh, Mom loved us so much. She put this all together for us. She just really loved us a lot. But just in case they don't get it, They'll see that Valentine right there in the middle, clearly stating how much I love them and how proud I am of them. There's just some things you can't leave to chance. Number 3, talk to your family about death and about grief. I know that's a hard one. No one likes to do that, but it's absolutely essential to prepare them. I know a lot about death and grief. I lost my mother when I was 17 to suicide. I lost my son when he was 19 to suicide. And after our son's death, I lost my husband after a long battle with a broken heart. I spent a lot of time in that grief pit. In fact, after my son died, I thought maybe I could just live there. Because why get out if you're just going to get thrown back in again, right? Well, I was wrong. The grief pit is a terrible place to live. It is brimming with shame and guilt. All hope is lost, and every single effort you make seems overwhelming. A few months after my son died, I was at my office, and I looked outside. My husband was there with his cousin, and they were having a very serious discussion. When the cousin saw me, he came over to me and, in a very angry and painful tone, wagged his finger in my face and said, "Don't you ever let your remaining children feel that they are not enough. Don't you do that to them." It was like a lightning bolt hit me when I realized what he was saying. He had lost his brother at about the same age as we had lost our son, but he felt that he lost his parents at the same time. He believed that his parents were so consumed in grief and mourning over the child that was dead that they could no longer attend to the children that were living. And I was in danger of going down that same road. I determined at that time that I was going to kick and scream and claw my way out of that grief pit, because I loved my children and I loved my husband, and I didn't want to make their grief journey any worse. I did it for them and for myself. It's not easy to escape the grief pit, and quite frequently you keep falling back down. But after a number of years and a lot of work, I was able to breathe fresh air again and find joy in life. Talking to your family about grief and about death is important to help them understand that although grief is natural, it's also survivable. By doing so, you will help them face the trials of their life, and you will pass along a legacy of resilience. I even talk to my grandchildren about grief and death, talk about their pop-pop quite a bit. I talk about me. I let them know, someday I'm going to be gone too. And I know my plan is working, because a couple of months ago, my little grandchild Heidi looked up at me from the kitchen table and said, "Nana?" And I said, "Yes, Heidi?" She goes, "Oh, Nana, if what happened to Pop-Pop happened to you," and I said, "Do you mean if I were to die?" She said, "Yes, if you were to die." "Well, go ahead, Heidi, if I were to die." "Well, Nana, if you were to die, can we still go to Disney World?" And I said, "Yes, success. I want you to go to Disney World. I want you to thrive. I want you to flourish. I want you to live your life thankfully and joyfully in memory of me. So, success with that one. Number 4, get your emotional affairs in order. Apologize before it's too late. Forgive while you still can. Reconcile now. In doing so, you will be freeing not only your soul, but the soul of anybody involved. It's a very important step. And then, collect your wisdom and your love and your family history and put them together in legacy books, legacy videos, or legacy letters. They will be a treasure for your family for generations to come. How many minutes do you have left? Death comes unexpectedly, and we can't assume we have more time. By planning now, you leave a course for your family that's free of confusion and free of conflict. It's not a task. It's a gift that will last long after you're gone. The clock keeps ticking. The time to get ready is now. Thank you.